Welcome back, MTG Joe here, and today we're going to be doing another weekly meta breakdown. This video in particular is for the Alchemy format, best of one and traditional best of three. If you're looking for standard or historic, those will be separate videos in the playlist, but we do each of the formats once a week in a separate video. If you're new to these types of videos, basically what I do is go over the weekly win rates and popularities of decks on the MTG Arena ladder. And the data I'm getting this from is from Untapped GG. It's a companion tool that runs alongside your Arena client, tracks your win rates, looks at your collection, suggests decks you can build, has like draft tools, stuff like that. It's free to use. So if you're interested in using that and getting it added to your Arena experience, the link is in the video description down below. So you can definitely do that for free. And we're going to start off with best of one. We're looking at it for the week of January 2nd to January 9th, Platinum to Mythic rank, and we're looking at a population of 56,000 games. So the top deck right now, win rate-wise this week, last week was Is It Mill? This week it is Esper Party, and it is really a cleric-style deck. It is a Inquisitor Captain, copy it with Glasspool Mimic. In a Cleric shell, you have Pyre Heroes. Basically kind of a life gain centric deck that looks to chain together copies of Inquisitor Captain to give you like kind of a mini Splinter Twin style effect. So it's a creature heavy deck that's looking to accrue card advantage through like your Inquisitor Captains or is bringing stuff back, or of a one of Tabaraks now. Another type of archetype that's got a few variations in the format between Mono Red, Rakdos, Boros, 5-color is the Dragons deck. Interesting, this particular version's looking to do Dragon turns. Just take an extra turn with combat. But with the ability of Fearsome Whelp, it reduces the cost of dragons in your hand, as well as Orb of Dragonkind. You're looking to play one of these on turn 2, and then just on turn 3, drop one of these 4-drop dragons. You get card advantage through Moonveil Regent. Just kind of gets the value like that. This one's going upwards to Red Dragon, which is a little ambitious, but power to them. They're going for that. We see Azorius aggro, which is another kind of idea of these Inquisitor Captains. This is basically a mono white shell that's splashing blue for the Glasspool Mimic and some copies of Limvala as board wipe insurance. You have your Skyclave apparitions, your Thalias to tax, so kind of more of a mono white improvise to get extra copies of Inquisitor Captain. We see again just mono red dragons. This version's a little bit creature heavier. You have your Bloodthirsty Adversaries to flash back some of the burn spells in the deck. This one's probably a lot better suited for like the creature mirrors, kind of like that. We see Boros Dragons, just another iteration of this deck. You can play Nadar, which happens to be a dragon despite being humanoid in form. You have Velocomys Lorehold, another cool card to have in here. Velocomys can hit stuff like Angel Fire Ignition, Valor Stance. We have Kaya's Onslaught. What does this do? Gains double strike. Okay, so kind of a combo-y kill. Fearsome Whelp gets your Velocomys, comes in. Velocomys is 5/5, hits for 10 damage. Potentially even larger with something like Dragonfire Ignition. So kind of a coolly combo-esque deck there. We see Esper Party again, just very similar. Usually when you see differences like this, it's because of a land or one or two different in terms of creatures. We see Mono Green Stompy, Fearsome Whelp, or Tenacious Pup, sorry. Kind of a boost to these decks, just giving something like making your Werewolf Pack Leader a 2 mana, 4/4 trample seems really good. You have stuff also like Ravenous Pursuit that can allow you to be removal that's not necessarily fight based in a traditional sense. That it doesn't fight, it deals damage, but also can buff your cards perpetually. And then going up to the Uvenwald Oddity in this particular list. We see the Is It Mill deck from last week, falling down a bit. It was in the 60%, but it is this week at 55. This version here is looking to Galvanic Iteration or Dual Strike a Tasha's Hideous Laughter or Maddening Cacophony, and then you got Ruin Crab to mill out as well. We have Mono Red Dragons again, Orzhov's Clerics. I'm just going to kind of skim through some of these similar decks. We have Esper Boredom Control, Teferi with Key to kind of get value there. Basically, it's a blue-white control deck. that's splashing for stuff like Vanishing Verse, Meathook Massacre, as well as a Go Blank. This version here, you got some access to Confront the Past on the side, Pest Summonings, Containment Breach. Interesting, they're playing a World Tree. I guess with this, you can cast anything. So kind of interesting there. The World Tree is an interesting addition. We have the Gruul Werewolves. We'll see in best of 3. There's a version that's a little bit tighter than this one here. This one's got like a lot of, looks like just fun ofs, but the other list I'll show you in a sec looks a lot more refined. What's this card do? Each player chooses a non-land permanent they control. Return all non-land permanents not chosen with this to their owner's hand. Then you draw a card for each opponent who has more cards in hands than you. Interesting. So kind of a reset button, usually just a way to answer the board. In the mill deck, we see Rakdos Dragons. Now we're kind of in the dumpster range. This version here, 48% Delvers, kind of a Gruul Aggro Shell, Vampires, Azorius Control, Mono Black Discard. We got some Turgid action. Naya Wolves, kind of dumpster ranks. So if we go over, I just want to take a look from matches themselves. So Esper Party, Dragons, Mill, 3 most volume of decks in terms of popularity right now. And if we pop over to best of 3, Gruul Werewolves, so this version here looks a little tighter. You have the Jaspara package to kind of go up in scale. So it's got some Wolves synergy. It's got some Dragons and just good Gruul cards involved. I think this version overall is a little bit tighter of a list. Do have the options for best of 3 if you're interested as well. We have Boros Dragons here. Again, just the deck we looked at, skewed to best of 3. You got some Adult Cold Dragons in there. Mono White, which is a deck that we don't see much of in Alchemy. We saw the Azorius version. This one's just straight Mono White. Again, just a captain deck. This one's not copying captains, just using it as kind of a collected company top end for accrued card vantage. And then just more dragons. Best of 3, we're not seeing as many games, only 6,900. If we look at all games played in Alchemy, it's only 72. So not being played as much as a best of 3 format. It's pretty much static like that. And if you haven't caught the notice, Wizards came out and announced they will be doing no Alchemy rebalances until after the MIQ in a couple weeks. So it's going to be fairly as is for now. We could potentially expect something. I would imagine like Fearsome Whelp or the Town Razor Tyrant gets nerfed in some capacity. Inquisitor Captain might just be on a cast trigger, not a copy, or enter the battlefield, so you can't copy it. So we might see some revisions to cards like that. I would like to see them also just increase the power level of some cards that just aren't quite there. I think it's an opportunity to revise them in that regard. The more playable cards we have just gives us more optionality. If cards are just bad and there's just a small pool of what's playable, it really limits the amount we can kind of build in that regard. So in any case, that is Alchemy right now. There's not a huge amount of lists. Like I said, like even if we look at best of 1 and we look at the full population, it was 56. It does go to 91. If we look at volume of games, folks are pretty much on those same decks, a little bit more of an uptick. The Werewolves deck seems to be a popular choice in any regard, despite the win rate, some Vampires in there as well. But that's it for the day. As always, if you do enjoy the content here on the channel, it is greatly appreciated if you can drop a like, comment, and subscribe. In addition to doing these weekly meta videos once a week, I do put out constructed content for the various formats. Right now, I'm actually doing some limited in terms of the Arena Cube. It has been an absolute blast. It is my favorite thing to do on Arena. If you are new to Cube and you don't know what you're doing and it's intimidating and stuff like that, I have some full Cube runs where I get to 7 wins. So, you know, good quality decks. I explain every choice that I'm doing as I'm making my choices, making my selections, but I also give like options as to like, you know, I'm choosing this card, but this is an option because of this. This is an option. These are good cards. This is how we're doing it. So if you want to kind of learn and get better at Cube or Limited, definitely check out those videos. They're in the Limited playlist. But yeah, as always, we'll be back next week. If you are looking for the standard or historic videos, they are in the respective playlist for meta breakdowns. We're just splitting those up because now that there's a lot of formats, it does get a little bit lengthy. for these individual videos. In any case, thank you for watching. Appreciate it as always. Stay safe out there, and we will catch you next time.